Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the January 8th, 2025 meeting of the Fond du Lac City Council. The first item of business is roll call, which is done electronically, and I will declare a quorum present. The next item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, which is followed by a moment of silent reflection. Please rise. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Next on our agenda is public hearings, and we have none, so we will move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda finalizes the proposed actions for the meeting. A, December 11th, 2024 minutes, and B, list of claims dated January 1st, 2025. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. A motion by Mr. Heisler and second by Mr. Schussler. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. Next on our agenda is audience comments, agenda and non-agenda items. The presiding officer will limit speaking time for non-agenda items to 1 minute and items noticed on the agenda to 5 minutes. Ms. Hefter, do we have anyone wishing to speak? And we do. First, we will start with Jane Wendt, who wishes to speak on agenda item 5D, resolution number 9160 on Campus Drive.
Thank you. Yes, we live over east of the high school and oftentimes drive through the campus to get over to Johnson Street and then further west, east, wherever we're going. And I did not know that there was a consideration that that was going to be closed until I read a notice in the paper, I believe December 15th. And I guess I just want to know if there was any public notice of it other than that. And then also the reasoning for closing that Campus Drive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have Dean Wendt, who also wishes to speak on 5D, the Campus Drive.
Same as my wife, we weren't aware of they wanted to close that, and we weren't aware of the reasoning. So I guess my question is, I hope someone can answer why that wants to be closed. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just note that because this is an agenda item, we will have discussion on that later on in the meeting. Next, we have John Oberg, who wishes to speak on the dog at Elm Acres. And this is an agenda item, so we can give you additional time, longer than a minute if you wish.
My name is John Oberg. I live on Elm Acres Drive. Been a resident there for 25 minutes. I was here at the council meeting October 7th of 24. It was regards to a vicious dog in our neighborhood. And I'm here again tonight to let the people know in Fond du Lac and at this council that I think it's such a tragedy that we have new neighbors that have the vicious dog, that tell everybody in the neighborhood in Elm Acres what they should do with their dog and what they should do with their children. Keep the dogs leashed, keep the kids inside. I don't like it, and I think something should be done about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Peggy Sarzik. Sorry, did you say Chichek? Chichek, who also wishes to speak on Elm Acres.
My name is Peggy Chichek, and I reside at 26 Elm Acres Drive with my husband Mike and our dog Canyon for over 16 years. This was a safe neighborhood. My husband and my dog were involved in an attempted attack. There was no trigger from my husband or my dog. They were walking around a cul-de-sac 3 doors from our house, and the new neighbors were in their garage with their dog Duke. The dog came out of the garage barking viciously and came at my husband and my dog. Dawn Campbell was the owner. She was in the garage. She was able to grab the leash of the dog. The dog dragged her within a 5 feet distance of my husband. My husband put our dog behind him, got down on his knees, and somehow triggered that dog and her to go away. The only thing she mentioned to my husband was another effing dog in the neighborhood. How many more are there? No sorries, nothing, went on. Points I want to make, I thought I was on limited time, so I have more time now, but Elmira Acres was a desirable location and safe over the past years. We moved there 16 years ago for a safe environment for my elderly 90-year-old father that I could trust to be safe. Neighbors watched over. We've had block parties in the past. We've had Christmas caroling in our neighborhood. We are a tight neighborhood. And we would go and walk at any time of the day and be able to stop and visit with neighbors, sing happy birthday to neighbors. You can't do that anymore. It is not the safe neighborhood. Campbell's dog previously attacked James and Nancy Thomas's, and you've heard their events and you've heard us speak in the past. Their dog is no longer with them. My husband and I tried to assist to save that dog for 5 days, and we watched it literally die in front of their eyes and our eyes. Campbells, as owners of their dog, are not diligent and cannot control their dog if outside of their home and show no remorse to several incidents. Even said to Jim Thomas when Jim said we had to put bailing down, good, and walked away. Several incidents have occurred with various neighbors being told by the Campbells that if they're outside with our dogs or any family members, we need to go in and stay away from the Campbells and their dog, as a dog will kill us, our families, and our pets. I do not consider that a friendly warning, but threats to us on safety and actual bullying behavior. Strangers come into our cul-de-sac, whether Boy Scouts selling Reese, that was one attempted attack, trick-or-treaters, delivery workers, mail, UPS Prime. We now have had signs up since Halloween to alert strangers and visitors to be on the lookout. Elderly neighbors and neighbors with health conditions who cannot protect themselves now are held up in their home as hostages. We have proof that the Campbells have moved here and had various incidents from a prior city with another dog. 5 months have passed, and we have no resolution or solution. We no longer see many children ride their bikes, scooters, or play in the cul-de-sac, or come walking up and say, "Hi, can I pet your dog?" A safe neighborhood gone wrong. We need some solution. I thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak, and I plead with you all to do the right solution. Have the Campbell's dog removed from the city limits. Please put yourself in our shoes. We tremble, we are afraid, we are hostages of our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Nancy Ryobeck-Thomas, who also wishes to speak on the dog at Elm Acres.
Hi. Thank you, first of all, for listening to us and all the help that we have received from some of the council members prior to this meeting. As you know, on August 10th of 2024, Duke, the Campbell's dog, was savagely attacking my dog Bailey. Dawn Campbell sat on the ground in the yard instructing my husband Jim to let Duke take her, and that if he didn't, that he would be attacked as well. So after the attack, then she pleaded with us to not phone the police. After hearing of Bailey's death, as you've just recently heard, Terry Campbell replied, "Good." That's just unacceptable. On August 3rd, Duke, while on a leash, as you just heard, dragged Dawn, the owner, down her driveway with the intent of attacking Mike Chichik and his dog Canyon. Dawn stated at that time, "There are too many effing dogs in the neighborhood." We are not talking about a responsible pet owner here. Never has anyone who has had an incident with the Campbells ever heard, "I'm sorry," or received any form of apology at all for their behavior or the behavior of their dog. I am asking that you, as the city officials, the council members, law enforcement, take the same action that you would use to protect your family and friends to protect my family and friends. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Chad Mongan, who also wishes to speak on Elm Acres.
Hello, my name is Chad Monge. I live at 65 Elm Acres Drive. I have 4 children, ages 4 to 13. And really, the circle for us is their playground. There's no sidewalks in and out. There's nowhere to get to from Johnson Street. So that's where they ride their bikes, their scooters, their whatever else they're playing, football, tag, whatever else. The circle is their playground. And after all the testimony that I've seen on YouTube and these folks are providing, I think it's pretty rare that a neighborhood and 20, 30 people get up here and are preaching the same thing. And I think it's obvious that that dog's not safe. When I hear my neighbors, they're not informing, they're pleading. We're desperate to get some action taken. We had an incident happen where a babysitter was walking our 4-year-old daughter around the circle, and the dog was out. It started to charge them, and my daughter's this big, she's a 4-year-old. And luckily, the neighbor was able to grab him, restrain him, get him back in. But all it takes is that owner to not latch that door, or a screen for that dog to bust through, or a garage door open for that dog to get out, and everybody's in danger, really. And I would really, God forbid, I would hate something like that to happen, and my daughter's riding her scooter around the circle. She wouldn't have a chance against that thing. So whatever you guys can do to help us, it's much appreciated. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next, we have Jim Thomas to speak on Elm Acres Drive.
Good evening. Again, I'll echo our thanks from myself and our community, our neighborhood for your support, and you're keeping this issue on the forefront, and you're keeping this issue as something that you're hopefully addressing. There's a few thoughts I wrote down. I'd like you to keep in the back of your minds as you deliberate tonight. We're a country, we're a city of laws. Our municipal codes are there for a reason, and they're there to be enforced. They're there to keep us all safe. I believe they're there to emphasize decency, respectfulness that we should all show to one another, that we need to foster cooperation and respect for our neighborhoods, our neighbors' property, as well as our own. The codes must be enforced, or they're useless, especially when another's rights, as well as the lives of their domestic pets, are viciously attacked, and in our case, killed, just simply enjoying their own yard on a nice, calm, peaceful Saturday evening. Especially when one neighbor, as you've heard, uses their dog as a weapon to threaten with, that threaten our children and our pets, and still fear within our neighborhood. Again, we've heard him state, if you see me outside, you should go in your house if you have a children or a dog outside. These codes should also be enforced, especially when one neighbor continues to taunt and threaten their neighbors. Ever since this instance, this neighbor has taken every opportunity. I can't file police reports on everything he's said and done, but he takes every opportunity to take jabs at us. He's stated loud enough that he wants to paint a picture of his dog, a mural on his fence, so we get to look at it every day through our backyard. I was out raking in the fall, just minding my own business, and he's yelling, good boy, Duke, insinuating he's a good boy for killing my dog, just to get under my skin. There is no remorse. There's no decency. If anything, these people double down. As you've heard, he said good. Not only did he say good, he followed up with that Bailey deserved it, just because she was off a leash in my yard, in our yard. Their dog came in our yard and killed it. And he stated good to my face. I'd like to see any of you swallow that without any kind of reattack. We've all stated in this neighborhood, we enjoy each other's company. This whole neighborhood, amazing people. I couldn't ask for better neighbors, better community. I don't think Fond du Lac can. And this should be supported, this kind of communal support, this kind of communal gathering. I would think it's something Fond du Lac values and needs and wants to see more of. We talk about, we enjoy each other's company. We've gathered for several occasions. Our biggest gathering this year was for Halloween, as we gathered across the street from this home to keep more kids, more pets, more people away from that door, because we've all seen how reckless and careless and irresponsible these people are. So we're enforcing on our own neighborhood. We're taking control of ourselves until the city can do something for us. So please act on our behalf. Just close with that. We hope you value our neighborhood as much as we do. And let the city of Fond du Lac hear loud and clear that you stand for protecting us all. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have Laura DeGollier, who wishes to speak on the non-agenda item of the North Main Street project.
Thank you, President Brault. At the first meeting in November, Councilmember Tom Schuessler brought to the council's agenda that no action had been apparent on the North Main Street corridor development plans. Those plans were designed by a consultant with input from citizens via survey on the internet and at least one public meeting. They should not be allowed to just gather dust. As a tax-paying citizen of our city, I am bringing to your attention that it has been 2 months since that item was on the agenda. Please give us a report at the next council meeting so that to tell us what has been done to market this plan and/or let the developers of Wisconsin know that we have a plan and would like to invite their ideas and look for ways that we can work with them to make this plan become a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, that concludes our audience comments. So next we will move on to our action items. Action item A is resolution number 9157, a resolution to certify and approve the publication process of the floodplain zoning ordinance of the City of Fond du Lac with our introduction by our city attorney, Ms. Hoffman.
Thank you, President Brault. You guys saw this back in November, and the only reason I'm bringing this back now, it's the entire floodplain zoning ordinance, and it's quite lengthy. In order to avoid paying to have the entire thing printed in the newspaper, we instead followed a different alternate process, which is allowed under state code, where it's published and a copy of the code is available in the clerk's office. We also had it on our website. So by doing that, we can avoid that cost, and it's equally valid. So all we need tonight is for you to approve that we've done that. And you can see that I attached a copy of the printing. So we've complied with the law, and it's valid.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Hoffman? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Godfrey, second by Mr. Mullen. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. Item B is resolution number 9158, a resolution making reappointments to the Board of Review and Housing Authority Board with their introduction by our city manager, Mr. Moore.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As Ms. Brault said, these are reappointments. There are two people, one for Board of Review, Ms. Thalerker for her third term, and one for the Housing Authority, Ms. Loof, to work with Ms. Gudex at the Housing Authority on her second term. I recommend approval for both of these reappointments.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Moore? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Schuessler and second by Mr. Heisler. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. Next is item C, resolution number 9159, a resolution making an appointment to the Alcohol License Committee. Again, our introduction is by our city manager, Mr. Moore.
Thanks again. This is a new appointment. Mr. Hayes made application to serve on the ALC. I think he's a perfect fit. I recommend approval for his joining the ALC.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Moore? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Zimmerman. And second by Mr. Godfrey. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. Item D is resolution number 9160, a final resolution declaring, since the public interest requires it, a public way to be vacated in the area of Campus Drive on the east side of the former UW-Fond du Lac campus from approximately 225 feet west of North Prairie Road and Ducharme Parkway to North Prairie Road, Pine Lake Drive. Our introduction is by our city engineer, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, President Brault. This particular item was brought before you at the November board meeting, right before Thanksgiving, as the initial resolution. What this is the vacation of a part of Campus Loop Drive, particularly Campus Drive, on the east side of the Fond du Lac County campus. It's current, and thank you for bringing that up, it is abandoning the old road right-of-way that used to exist back in the early 2000s when there was an actual road here. That road was removed approximately 2002, and basically in its place is the trail that runs through the Godfrey Prairie. The county approached the city to formally abandon the right-of-way. It should have been abandoned back in 2002 timeframe, but for whatever reason it wasn't. So, like I said, the county has requested the abandonment of this right-of-way. We've reviewed it, and we don't have any utilities. We don't have any need to run a road through there. The city will not run a road through there anymore. So we would recommend vacation of this portion of Campus Drive, and the Plan Commission agrees. So if there's any other questions, or if I can explain further, please let me know.
Thank you. Oh, could you just clarify, because we had some questions at public comment?
Yes. I hope, like the exhibit, is a little more explanatory there of what's being abandoned. It's basically the roadway that existed up until about 2002. Then the roadway's been removed for 20 plus years. There's nothing there, just a trail. So basically, we're just abandoning the city right away at this point. Nothing else is going to change out there. You're still going to have the same access around the rest of Campus Drive. No, not the parking lot. It's basically, if you can see the exhibit there on the screen there. I'm sorry, here, I have a copy here to help you out.
Yeah.
Ms. Brault,
Mr. Moore?
would you ask Mr. Johnson to come back up?
Yes. All right. Mr. Johnson. So,
And while he's coming back up, I wanted to explain something. There may have been confusion. I think I was picking up on during public comment. If you would, I'm going to put my laser pointer here. This is the newly constructed road from right behind C.D. Smith right up to the campus. And this road was the one that was there and then removed. So what we're talking about tonight, though, doesn't involve either of those. What we're talking about tonight is we're now, if you walk through the Arboretum, there's a trail there. And from way back when, the right-of-way, that was, we didn't close the loop on that. So that's what we're doing tonight, is closing the loop on what created that trail. So when Mr. Johnson said there's no utilities or anything out there, that's part of that story, why we don't need it. You're welcome.
well, and thank you for coming and bringing those questions, because like even I sometimes get confused looking at these maps of what is current road and what used to be out there. So I do really appreciate that we were able to help bring some understanding. Mr. Mullen?
Yeah, just clarification for our audience. That property out there is county land, and the city does not make decisions about what goes on there. So the county has decided, they put up some kind of restriction on that road. They don't want people using it. What they really don't want is the high school students to use that to access Johnson Street. So that's a county matter, and we have no control over that.
So- Sorry, we're not really supposed to have back and forth, but just to clarify what Mr. Mullen is talking about, we're not talking about this purple, we're just talking about the previous right-of-way that we have had on this property. As Mr. Mullen said, it is, of course, county land, and so any further decisions would be county decisions, not City of Fond du Lac decisions. But that new road and cut-through is not something that we're really discussing. It really doesn't have anything to do with what we're discussing here.
I thought that might be what you're talking about, though. No? Okay, well. Restriction on that road, so I've gotten some calls on that. They
Correct.
put up a sign, they don't want people driving down it.
All right, Ms. Leering.
We basically just don't even use that road anymore. It's not, I mean, not, so that you're not confused. So you're not losing anything.
All right, are there any other questions from council? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Heisler, and we'll have a second from Ms. Leering. Is there any other further discussion? I do hope that we provided some clarification to those of you who came, and thank you to Mr. Johnson for helping with that. Seeing no other discussion, please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. That ends our action items, and we have no input items. So next, I will entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session, conferring with legal counsel regarding possible litigation requiring a closed session. The subject of the closed session is possible litigation, public nuisance, animal control at Elm Acres Drive. This motion by Mr. Schussler, and second by Mr. Mullen. This is not, Chief Goldstein, will you be present for the closed session? Yes. All right, this is not debatable. Please proceed to vote. And we are adjourned. Meet back in 5 minutes or so.